I know that at this point, you've done over 30,000 coaching sessions, which is just mind-boggling. When I think about anything that I've done more than 30,000 times besides like breathing, it's like what, nothing. It's like that's tremendous. And so across all of those coaching sessions, and I know you've coached people at all different levels, tell us about some of the highlights, some of the common themes that you see that are maybe holding people back, or what's the differentiator? What are some of those differentiators between people who see success and those who don't?
Well, it's such a great question. And again, I've been blessed to literally work with millionaires and billionaires. I've worked with Fortune 50 CEOs. I've worked with doctors and attorneys. I've worked with Olympic athletes. So I've been very blessed. And the fact that I have done 30,000 coaching sessions, well, I'd have to be an idiot at this stage not to see where people get stuck. And I'm telling you that most people get stuck due to one thing and one thing only, and that is limiting beliefs, right? Again, it doesn't matter where you are in your journey of real estate or where you are in your journey of life. And it doesn't matter if it's real estate. It might be something you want to do in your career or in your finances or in your relationships or in your health, where you've got good intentions, but all of a sudden, something comes up in this 3-pound mass between our ears called our brain that literally paralyzes us, or we get analysis paralysis, or we have a little bit of doubt or fear or worry or anxiety. And guess what? The doubt, the fear, the worry, and the anxiety is natural. But the goal is to ask yourself, are you going to let that limit you to what real estate could be for you and your family? Or are you going to find a way to take a new position of authority over the fear, right? Because fear is not necessarily good or bad, right? But you've got to acknowledge it and then ask yourself, not just, what do I need to do to get past it, but who do I need to be to step into what we call, extreme ownership of courage, to then stand on top of the shoulders of other people who have also broken through that doubt, that fear, that worry, that anxiety, to really get to the next level of life, either personally, professionally. Does that resonate?
Oh, yeah. Extreme ownership of courage. I love that. I'm going to write that down.
Yep.
So give us some tools that some people might be able to use to help them get over those limiting beliefs that they have. Because I know that when we first met and we first started coaching together, there were so many limiting beliefs when it came to, specifically for me, even doing something like this, talking on a podcast or getting on a stage or talking to an important investor. And all of the work that we've done over the years has really gotten me to this place now where I'm very comfortable. I don't love it, but I'm very comfortable. So what are some tools? Because I know you have so many, but maybe pick the top one or two that you might be able to share with the listeners that can help them get over their limiting beliefs, whether it's like, people get stuck in their head. I hear this all the time. Well, I'm not a real estate investor. You just said it too earlier, right? You're like, yep. I don't know anything about real estate investing. And so how can we help the listeners get over this idea that if they haven't done a lot in real estate, doesn't mean that they can't and that they won't, right? So what are some of those tools?
Well, I love the question, Julie, and I think it really boils down to one of the strongest tools that we use, and you ladies know this, but it'll be really good for the listener, is to really work on what we call your 4 S's, because there are 4 words that all start with the letter S, as in superhero, that you really need to check in with and take personal inventory on if you want to go from where you are today to where you truly want to be. Because again, there's always a gap, right? And our job as coaches or podcasters or, whatever we are, is to help people see through a different lens and close that gap. And the best way to do that is to really, go through the 4 S's. So I'll do that in a minute. But I also want to remind you that everybody has, what we call their own MOW, or what's known as their model of the world. Right? It's the lenses we see through, the headphones we listen through, or the fingertips we touch with, where you got to think that everything that right, has a reference because you've learned it, before today. We call that the familiar past. And because we have more references to the past than we do the present, right, or even the future, we tend to focus on the past. And because that happens, we tend to tell ourselves stories that either, hinder or prevent us from stepping into that superhero that we all are in order to create what we call a predictable future. So let me go through the 4 S's because they're uber powerful. And what's great about these is if you learn them one time, you can't unlearn them. You have them for the rest of your life. And not only can you use them, to take yourself from where you are to where you want to be, but you can also help your spouse. You can help your kids. You can help your aging parents. You can help your community, right? Because these are the beautiful 4 S's that literally will tell you, almost a report card on what could be holding you back. And the very first one is really what we call your state management. And state refers to your focus, right? And a lot of people are focused in America on what they don't want. And you walk into any major city in America, you'll see people in a state and a focus where they go, I don't want to be broke, or I don't want to be fat, or I don't want to be lonely. We call those the big 3, right? Money, health, and relationships. Well, they've got to really understand that they're doing themselves a disservice, to just focus on what they don't want, because we call that a moving away from modality, when what we do in high performance coaching is ask you, well, what do you want? We call that a moving towards modality. And it sounds a little better like this, like I want to be abundant, I want to be in great shape, and I want to have really vibrant, healthy relationships. And I'm telling you, where focus goes, energy flows. So the first thing I would ask people to take personal inventory on is, what have you been focused on? Because what you focus on, you feel, and what you feel is literally what your brain and your body will go out there and find for you through the law of familiarity.